Event in human history never again repeated. A teenage girl leading an army on an earthly mission to crown the King of France.
To the pyre was bound and suffered the martyrdom of being burned alive.
Have you ever imagined a teenage girl leading an army and changing history? Joan of Arc, a peasant girl from a small French village, guided by visions and unshakable faith, inspired a nation and became a symbol of courage that still resonates today. Are you ready to discover how she turned the impossible into reality? The early life of Joan of Arc. Have you ever wondered how a teenage girl from a tiny village could change the course of history? Joan of Arc was born around 1412 in Domremy, a small village in northeastern France. She grew up helping her parents, tending sheep, and learning the values of faith, honesty, and hard work. Life in Domremy was simple, but it taught Joan resilience, responsibility, and a strong connection to her community, qualities that would guide her in extraordinary ways. At just 13, Joan began hearing voices she believed were from saints, guiding her to support Charles VII and help liberate France from English control. Imagine hearing such a calling at that age. What would you do if you believed you were chosen to change history? Would you have the courage to step forward? Despite her humble background and lack of formal education, Joan displayed remarkable courage, determination, and faith. She spent her days helping others, praying, and mentally preparing herself for the challenges ahead. Can you picture a young girl, barely in her teens, inspiring a whole nation just with her belief and conviction? Joan's story reminds us that extraordinary bravery can come from the most ordinary beginnings. Even a simple village girl could rise to become a legendary figure whose actions echo through history. What lessons can we take from her life about courage, faith, or standing up for what we believe in? A mission from God. At just 16, Joan of Arc did the unthinkable. She approached Charles VII, claiming God had chosen her to lead the French army and drive the English out of France. Can you imagine asking a king for an army at that age? Most would have dismissed her, but Charles was inspired by her courage and conviction. Joan received armor, a banner, and a small army. Though inexperienced in warfare, her ability to inspire faith and courage was unmatched. Her first major challenge, the Siege of Orléans in 1429, seemed impossible, but Joan's leadership turned the tide. Her presence boosted morale and gave soldiers a sense of divine purpose. Her faith was at the heart of her leadership. She prayed openly and followed her visions, showing that true leadership is measured by conviction, not age or experience. By lifting the siege, Joan achieved a historic victory, proving that even ordinary individuals, when guided by purpose, can accomplish the extraordinary. The coronation of Charles VII. After her remarkable victory at Orléans, Joan of Arc guided Charles VII to Reims for his coronation, a moment that would change French history forever. Reims was the traditional site for crowning French kings, and securing it was a symbol of legitimacy and hope for the nation. Joan's role in this event was pivotal, not just as a warrior, but as a symbol of divine guidance and inspiration. Imagine being part of that procession, a teenage girl at the center of the court, leading the king to his coronation, while soldiers and citizens watched in awe. Joan's courage, faith, and determination had earned her a place in history that few could have imagined for someone her age. Her presence at the coronation boosted the morale of the French people and reinforced Charles VII's authority, giving hope to a nation long oppressed by war. Joan's actions challenged societal norms. At a time when women were rarely seen in leadership, she broke barriers and proved that true leadership comes from vision, courage, and the ability to inspire others, not just status or title. Her story encourages us to reflect. How often do we underestimate the potential of youth or the power of a single determined individual? The coronation marked the peak of Joan's mission and cemented her role as a national heroine. It showed the world that even amidst war and chaos, belief, courage, and conviction could change the course of history. Facing the enemy. Imagine being only 18 years old, victorious on the battlefield, and suddenly taken prisoner by your enemies. This was Joan of Arc's reality in 1430, when Burgundian forces captured her and handed her over to the English. They didn't just see her as a soldier, they saw her as a symbol of French hope and resistance, and they were determined to destroy her. Joan faced a trial for heresy and cross-dressing since she had worn male armor during battles. The trial was political, designed to discredit her and weaken Charles VII's legitimacy. Despite intense questioning, threats, and intimidation, Joan remained calm, confident, and unwavering. She refused to renounce her mission or admit wrongdoing, showing remarkable courage and intelligence even in the face of grave danger. Ultimately, Joan was convicted and sentenced to death, but her bravery continues to inspire generations. It makes us ask ourselves, if you were in her place, how far would you go to defend your beliefs when the world seems stacked against you? Could you stand firm like Joan did? The legacy of courage. What would you do if, at just 19 years old, the world demanded your life for daring to fight for your beliefs? On May 30th, 1431, Joan of Arc faced this ultimate test, being burned at the stake in Rouen, France. Imagine the courage it took to confront death with such bravery. Her heroism didn't just shock the French, it galvanized resistance against the English and turned her into a timeless symbol of hope and inspiration. Joan's story did not end with her execution. In 1456, a posthumous retrial declared her innocent, clearing her name. Later, in 1920, she was canonized as a saint by the Catholic Church. Today, Joan is celebrated worldwide as a national heroine of France and a global icon of courage, faith, and determination. Statues, paintings, and stories continue to honor her legacy, reminding us that true bravery leaves a mark on history. Her life teaches us that even the smallest voice can influence the world. Think about it. How often do we underestimate the power of one person's conviction? Joan's story challenges us. Would you stand up for what is right, even when the odds are stacked against you? Can you summon the courage in your own life the way she did in hers? And what difference could your bravery make today? Joan of Arc's story shows that courage and conviction can change the world, no matter your age or background. If her journey inspired you, like, subscribe, and share, and remember, even one person can make history.